No, we're live. We're live. According to the screen. We're live. So maybe refresh and let me know. But yeah, if there's any technical issue, but we should be live on YouTube. So first the YouTube channel, entirely free. Second, through live workshops like this one. So 9x live workshops. The next one that you can already register to will be hosted by Jan. And we will see how to build a Make AI agent live. So you can register on Lu.ma. Kat is going to share the link again in the the Zoom chat. Third way, through our courses. And we have structured these into three main programs. A free intro course, which is the AI starter. If you're looking for it, it's not there yet. It will come in October. It will be an introduction showing you what's possible with AI today if you want to automate your work with AI tools. The AI operator course, which is more for beginners, we're teaching you how to become productive with AI at work, primarily focusing on AI chat solutions. So if you're not yet getting good results with ChatGPT, Gemini, or Claude, this one's for you. And finally, the AI Builder. This is where we come from. We come from the automation space. This is our most comprehensive course for those of you who want to learn to build AI workflows, AI agents in a quite advanced way. So those three courses. And last way, we also offer training programs for companies. So we have an AI, some training programs include like AI literacy, where if you want to give your team core AI skills, like everybody learn some essential AI core skills. AI squad, if you want to build an automation squad, they will basically go through the AI builder course, and AI first if you have more, let's say, more advanced needs. And if you're interested in discussing that, we have a link that Kat will drop in the chat to book a consultation call with us, entirely free. End of advertising, and let's get to it now. So first, Airtable 101. Kat, do we know in the chat who, did we get some responses? Do we have a crowd that's more beginner, people who have never seen Airtable, or do we have advanced people who just want to know what Omni can do?
Yeah, so most people have used Airtable but have not used Omni.
All right. Okay, so I'll keep this one short. If there's a few of you not on Zoom and they need a little refresh on Airtable, I'll be very quick on this one. So what is Airtable? Airtable is a very good tool to build custom internal applications. And the advantage of Airtable over a regular tool you would use to, like a regular SaaS application you would use to solve a particular problem, is that Airtable allows you to build a custom tool. So a piece of software that's going to fit your exact needs. Now, the flip side is that you will need to build the solution. It's not going to come out of nowhere. And so over the years, Airtable has built a very intuitive, easy to use interface to build your applications, to manage your database, your interfaces, build automations. And we will see that with Omni, there's an additional layer where we can basically prompt applications to life. So that's Airtable. And at a high level, for those of you who have never built apps, if you really simplify, there are three main layers inside an application. That also applies to internal tools. The interfaces, which is the front end that lets us interact with the app data and the different functionalities. So what humans use, the screens. The logic, this is the part that automates steps or actions that connects pieces together under the hood for us. This is where we're going to automate a lot of things. And the database, this is where our data is stored, and it's going to be inside different tables. So interfaces, logic, database. And the thing you need to know about Airtable is that building applications in Airtable happens on these three layers. So here you can see there's a first section, data, where you're going to manage your database. Section automations, where we're going to build this little logic. And a section interfaces plus forms, where we can build the screens that the users are going to interact with. All right, so that's it for Airtable. And now let's move into Omni, which introduces an entirely new way to build inside Airtable. So what is Airtable Omni? Airtable Omni is an integrated AI assistant. So it's an AI assistant that lives inside your Airtable projects. And that marks really the shift for Airtable from a no-code platform to an AI native platform. Airtable started with adding small AI features here and there, for instance, AI fields. But with Omni, they're really transforming the tool, transforming the platform into an AI native platform. So this is a chatbot, and Omni lets you not only interact with your database, we're going to see that, but it lets you also build, edit, automate entire Airtable apps just using what we all know, plain language. So first of all, let's go inside. Oh, where's my? I need a new global screen. Let's go inside Airtable. I'll use this one. And I'll close this tab. And let's first see where we can find Omni, okay? So for this, we need to go inside an Airtable base. We see we already have the option right from the start to kickstart project to use Omni. We're not going to do that. This is a blank Airtable project. And already by default, the behavior of Airtable is such that Omni is right from the start here in our new project. So that is this assistant here that we can access throughout any section of Airtable. So it's there. We can either build visually or talk to Omni. We can also access Omni if we publish our interface. I will get maybe a publish app first. If we publish an interface and we start using our application, we just grab another example like this one, interface, yeah. So this is one interface that I'm using. You can also access Omni here, but here is going to be a little bit different. You're not going to access the building features of Omni. You are, as a user, you have a chatbot on top of your Airtable app to basically interact with the data and ask some questions. Okay, so this is where we can access Omni. Back to, oops. Just need to reset up my screens. Yeah, perfect. Okay. So what can you do with Omni? What are the different set of functionalities? If it were only a chatbot, we wouldn't do a webinar, not super interesting. At a high level with Omni, you can do three things. First, you can ask questions. Not any type of questions. You can ask questions to your Airtable data. You can interrogate your database. So that's one first thing that's going to be very useful, especially if you have applications where you store a lot of information and you want to get insights quick or you want to analyze your data. You're going to be able to do that in another way. Airtable already had charts and different ways to slice and dice data and analyze it. But now we can go directly with plain language questions and get straight answers. Second, you can analyze data. So here, not only Omni is going to answer questions, but it's also going to chart data for you. So that's pretty good. And yeah, we will see again, there are some interesting upsides in doing that. There are also some limitations, but I will show you everything. And then most importantly, we can use Omni to build. It's an assistant that helps us build up our Airtable base, and we're going to explore in detail everything that it can do. But first, two demos to show you what it can do when it comes to asking questions and analyzing data. And so demo number one, we see how you can ask questions to an Airtable database. Super. And okay. So first, a bit of context. So this is an Airtable base where we manage our content. And in there, we tracked our LinkedIn posts, our blog articles, the tutorials we publish, the YouTube videos we publish. So there's a lot of data. And you can build dashboards on top of your data with Airtable. But sometimes like not everything lets itself into like built into a dashboard. Sometimes you just have a simple question and you would like to have those insights right away. So typically one first thing that you can do with Omni out of the box is ask it, and especially if this is a completely new base to you and you're trying to figure out what is inside this base, is to ask it to describe the contents of this Airtable base. I'm going to let it run for a second, where it's not too long. And it's going to give you not just the schema, so not just the contents of the table, but also it's going to spit out an overview that is more spelled out in business terms or in English terms than in technical ones. So we can see very short prompt. It's for a new user that just discovers this base. We learned that we have core content tables where we have posts, blog articles, videos. We have a set of tables to plan the content around ideas and topics. We are also tracking analytics and performance. And then we have a bunch of stuff that makes less sense because we've been building this for 2 years and not necessarily always optimizing things. But you get a very good picture just out of a very short prompt on what will I find inside this Airtable base. Okay, so that's for like something that I find useful if you are not familiar with the base you're looking at. We can also ask data, like ask questions about facts, quantitative facts, and get straight answers. So how many LinkedIn posts were published by Alex this year? While this runs, I think the answer is so something that you want to do, especially when you're running with AI systems inside applications like this. If you're using Gemini in Google Sheets, don't trust the results. It's always worth verifying. So the answer to this question here is 131 posts. I just filtered a post that I shared this year, authored by me, that were published and with the published date this year. So the answer I should get is 131. And it's so it failed this time. So it worked yesterday. Interesting. But that case sort of proves the point. So I'm going, in this case, what you would do if it fails to do the query, is to say basically, that's because I know why. How many posts, not how many LinkedIn posts. So it helps to know the data. So technically, these are not LinkedIn posts, these are posts. So it was confused. And also, there is a field where we track the channel. And when the channel is LinkedIn, we track that. But I know this data is not clean. Okay. So here, a good example that the problem was between the computer and the chair, which means my query was confusing. But if your data is clean, and if your query makes sense, here, my table is called post, not LinkedIn post, hence the confusion. We get an accurate result. And so that's pretty good. If you know how your tables are named, your fields are named, you know how to query certain data sets, you can directly from a prompt get a correct answer. What are the other type of things we can ask directly Omni? What was the latest blog article published? So here, I'm not even specifying particular fields. So there is a blog articles table, but then I'm not saying which field it should filter by, that there is also a status field to identify if the article is still in draft or published. It should find, hopefully, the right answer on its own. In the meantime, I'm going to try the second one on more qualitative analysis. So if you want to have it to really look at all your Airtable data and provide an analysis, qualitative analysis of what has been going on, you can. So we can create a new chat, and we can have chat in parallel. So what are key topics in post published by Alex? And all your chats will be there. So one thing with Omni, as you can already notice, it can be slow. And we will see there are some queries where I ran the prompt and I will show you the results. I suspect also that if I'm not in the chat, it's taking more time. So the latest blog article published is this one. And actually, if you go on our blog, that's the one. So again, that's the correct answer. One thing on those types of questions is that, and you will see this is more a general comment on Omni itself. You don't want to overload it with too complex queries. So this is a rather simple one. If your query is more complicated, you might then hit some limits. So let's look at this one. What are key topics in post-published? What do I talk about? That in and of itself has value for me because I don't spend an hour. I'm not going to spend an hour just thinking what have I been posting in the last 2 years? What are the pillars, or what are my core topics? I just post as I go, and so such analysis is going through 587 records, so pretty extensive, and then it's going to run. Okay. So it takes a bit more time. In the meantime, are there questions in the chat?
Nope, no questions so far.
So unsurprisingly, AI automation in the coding business operation, the changing roles and skills, the importance of human oversight, these kind of topics. So this kind of analysis you can run, and like it's really went through all the past posts that were logged inside my Airtable base. Okay. So that's for demo number 1. You can ask questions, and from that you can interrogate the data inside your Airtable base just with plain language. And since this is a feature that is available in the interface, that is something you can give access to users that are not necessarily building. So that's also quite interesting one.
Okay, now there is a question, Alex.
Yeah.
Someone asked, how do we know how many credits we use per query? Is there a way to know this?
Yeah, so that's a very good one. It is not shown always. So I'm going to show you now in the second demo, one where you are warned in advance that because the requests are a bit more heavy in this one, but it's not always transparent, I find. And that's also one thing I want to discuss in the end, which is Omni is potentially you can end up spending a lot of credits. And so if you are on budget constraints, you have to have a certain policy where it comes to using it. But here in this example, you will see it's going to warn you in advance of how many credits you're about to spend. So this one's a cool use case. You can perform parallel searches with web tables. So let me show you what web tables are. In the second demo, I'm going to close this. Okay, so I am going to, sorry, this is the wrong table. This is the outcome. So take this one. Sorry, I have the wrong one. I'm just going to duplicate this. This was the end goal. So let's say you want to, no, my bad. You will just start from the prompt. So I'm going to start a new project. This is the end result I will show you afterwards. So start a new Airtable project, and you've been probably using tools like deep research in any of those AI chat solutions, whether it's Perplexity or ChatGPT deep research, or deep research with Gemini or Claude. But what if you want the result to be stored in a table, and you want to have this a bit more structured. So Omni has a new feature, which I think is in beta, but will come soon, called Web Table. Crawls the web to find higher quality data from multiple sources and pulls it into structured tables. So this is something that you need to enable. And then you can have a prompt like this one. So copy this. Research AI enablement provider. So let's assume I want to research my competition, or I want to get an idea of the AI enablement space. So I'm going to specify two things in this kind of prompts, and in order to give Omni all it needs to generate a web table. Search criteria. So this is what you have above. I want companies offering AI training programs. Limit your search to players focusing on business teams like us, in tech companies, ideally. And then the second thing you want to return are the data points. So the name of the company, website, when was it founded, team size, revenue, headquarters, and so on. Yeah, so two things, search criteria and data points. Your Airtable projects can be empty, there can be other tables, it doesn't matter. Because what it's going to do first is it's going to populate a table that is outside of your base. And here is what it's going to do first. It's going to give you its plan. And this is where you have the estimate first. It's going to, and that's why I'm not going to run it because we won't have time to see it run entirely. But it's going to tell you, okay, I have criteria first, defined for the search. And for each, I'm going to look for the following information online. For every single one, I'm going to look for this information. It's going to cost you 47 credits and it's going to take about 15 minutes. If you press continue, it's going to start its search. And the outcome is once, so I ran this yesterday, is this table that I got with 95 players and the data point. So some comments on this. You can see first, if I know my market a little bit, there are lots of players here that I would not put really in the same bucket. And there are companies that are a bit too big. So maybe I should refine my criteria, but I find that it has a tendency to have maybe too many records. And that's also something like spending goes up. So yeah, maybe in the prompt you can restrict to the 10 best results. Maybe there are ways to limit that, but I found that it cast a wide net and not necessarily everything is relevant. Second, in this way of searching, so you get a lot of results. Every field is a prompt. Actually, I will run it so you can see how it looks like. Every field is sort of a prompt with like a particular web search or agentic search that is performed. Exactly, it look like this, and then gradually it's going to be completed. In terms of precision, I tried a longer prompt to be very specific for each data point, but it's kind of overloads Omni. So if you have too many data points and too many instructions, if your prompt is too long, it's not going to generate that. And so I'd say it really depends in terms of quality of the results. That's a feature you see from the AI lab. So it's something that's not released yet or like feature in beta. But that is something I would watch out is it will probably get much better in its next iterations. But right now, I feel that we don't have enough control over the individual prompts or the individual criteria to get like perfect results. But still, it's quite interesting because in one prompt, I'm able to generate this. And so maybe there are some use cases that you can think of if you need to do a quick search where this could become a starting point. Any questions on this one?
There are a couple of questions now.
Yeah.
I'm just going to ask one or two. So someone asked, how reliable is the data provided by Omni, especially in regards to hallucinations, and also which AI model is used in the background?
So for the search, I'm not sure which AI model is used. What I can tell you is that when automations are generated, we're going to generate one in a bit. You can toggle the model, like where you can see the model. is inside AI fields or inside automations. There's a module generate with AI, and there you can see which model is chosen. And the default one I've been seeing by doing testing yesterday was ChatGPT 4.1. I think I would assume that this is a settings that can be adjusted somewhere. I haven't checked that. But when it comes to choosing the model here in Omni that you interact with, maybe it is a setting at company level or in your account level, but it's not something that I can really edit. The second thing on hallucinations, that's exactly what I just mentioned. I would always verify, always check the data. So the message is not just do your web research with web tables in Omni, and you can take what the output is and you can immediately use it. I think there's a lot of fact checking and iteration needed before you can trust blindly that data. That will also depend on the quality of your query, and that's a question, or that is in general a dimension. Like it is not so much Airtable's fault, I would say. AI models still hallucinate, and so in a tool that uses AI models to perform those operations, those web searches, you will end up also with hallucinations. So don't use it for precise reporting yet. I think it's great to explore some research if you need to get for instance, the website or if you needed to research articles about a certain topic, you will get the link to the articles and you will be able to double check. Okay, this is something I would always output or ask the model to output is a way for you to audit the results. A website, a link article, whatever that is. Okay, so enough with analysis and data research. We want to see is what can we build with Omni? Is it a great alternative to the visual builder in Airtable that's already pretty quite compelling. So what can you build with Omni? 5 things. You can build entire applications in one prompt. And actually, isn't the results I'm getting are not so bad. You can prompt tables, you can prompt automations, custom interfaces, you can prompt dashboards. All right. So let's see all of that, shall we? Again, so first, this is more the result. Again, oops. When you want to, when you start a project in Airtable now, so a new Airtable base, you are going to have 2 options. So building an app on your own and building an app with Omni. For those of you who've been following us for a while, I've been using Airtable over several years. This is not a new feature. The possibility to prompt apps to life. This is actually new, like the old feature was called Airtable Co-Builder, that would allow you to generate an app or the beginning of a project just out of a prompt. So let's do one. So, and I'm going to use a topic I'm quite familiar with because I know a little bit the space. Let's ask Omni to generate an application to manage our company business travel. It should have trips, travel expenses, so flights, hotel, taxis, hotel, etc. It should provide interfaces for 3 types of personas: employees, so they can submit and track the status of their expenses; accountants, so you can review and approve their submissions; and for the management to have an overview of cost spending. All right. So the whole experience has changed. You can see, so we have Omni that's going to do all these actions, first starting with creating the database and the different tables. And in this live screen, we're able to see what it is doing. And here we have an indication of where it stands. So I find it quite nicely done, and a big improvement over CoBuilder, because CoBuilder was very just suggesting what were showing a little bit what were the changes, but not with this level of detail. Here we can really see live Omni building every table, creating mock data. We can already have a look at it. So it's done with the first table trips. And now it's going to create the second table expenses, populating that table, adding field agents. So there's always, if you prompt some applications with Omni, a few times you will see that there's always a bit of a pattern of what it's doing. So it's finalizing the database. Now it's building the interfaces. And what I found really, really good already, first, it's done now. And second, it is respecting my high level requirements. So we have we have trips, travel expenses, and we have interfaces for 3 different personas. And this is what I get in the interfaces. First, a first set of interfaces for employees, one for accounting, and one for management. That's already pretty strong. Because for those of you who know a little bit more how Airtable works on the front end, what I see here as an editor, I see all the interfaces, but if we toggle accordingly the rights, each of these folder, we can define that each of these folders is only viewable by a certain subset of users. So we're not that far from having an app where these 2 pages are the only thing that employees see. And then accounting users will have a different space, and then we have the management that gets access to a dashboard. The other thing where it was pretty compelling is creating what we need here. So expenses, trips, employees, very good. The requirements or what was generated as table fields kind of makes sense too. So it's quite exciting to see. And like for people who have never built an app in Airtable, there's so many layers that you need to figure out. There's the database, schema, and design. Then the interfaces, even if the visual builder is relatively easy to get around, the first time you will be lost. And so this is a very compelling way to get started. We can launch it. Yeah, and we can look a little bit at the functionalities. That's how we should evaluate things. So here, as an employee, yeah, I'm going to be able to submit an expense. I'm going to be able to add this. And now where it gets interesting is now I have the choice. I can prompt Omni to say, well, that's not exactly what I wanted. Or that would be more my recommendation there. Or I can make changes in one of the best visual builders, the most intuitive visual builders in the market, relatively fast too. And I find that this interplay is very interesting and very compelling. There's a lot being said right now about vibe coding, where you get very spectacular first versions, but then you kind of struggle to finalize your projects. And there's also a bit of concern around security. Here, security is built in because Airtable apps are secure. For internal tools, this is not going to be your website. This is another family of solutions, but for internal tools, Airtable apps are relatively secure. And then when it comes to applying the finishing touches, you have really the choice there. So one thing that I didn't do, and now we're going to cover in 1 or 2 demos, nothing is built in automations when you generate an app. The automations are not generated. We have a way to generate them with Omni. We're going to see an example. But when you prompt projects, or maybe you have done it wrong, but at least for now, everything that's generated are the data tables, some mock data, and interfaces that, to the best of its knowledge, to the best of Omni's knowledge, should fit your requirements. Are there questions on this one? We good?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Somewhere here. So can we build only like tables and dashboards here, or can it build apps like Laravel or Base 44 that you can build anything you want?
No, you can. The interfaces are going to be in Airtables. Like you're going to generate components that follow Airtable's interface, rules. So I can show you briefly if you've never seen that. So with the visual builder here, if I want to create a new page, they are pre-built layouts, and these are great for internal tools, but you're not going to have much control over design. Like we're building internal tools here. We're not building custom apps, customer-facing apps. The second reason why you don't want to do it in Airtable is this will get in any case too expensive if you want a customer-facing app, because then you'll need to get an Airtable account for everyone to use it. So this is really for internal tools.
Thank
Now
you.
on the custom interfaces, Airtable is moving in this direction where it's an early feature. There's this new type of interface where you can create custom interfaces with code. And there's also a beta feature of Omni that lets you prompt custom interfaces. So they're also going in a direction of giving you more flexibility there.
Thank you.
Cool. You're welcome. Next demo. Next demo is going to be. So we've seen how to generate an app. That's pretty cool. Now one thing is, I didn't specify anything. So for those of you who've already built apps or already built databases or already work with Airtable, this part of defining what are the fields, what do they store, which data type they store. Like for instance, I had no control over the status field, and I might not agree with the different statuses here. So we need more control, and there is a way to basically get Omni to precisely build what we want with the following hack. So we go to this one. So this is one thing you will find in also in our tutorials. We have a YouTube video about this. I'll make it quick there. It's a prompt to let ChatGPT or any other model generate a prompt in the following format. It's nothing revolutionary. We're just going to output a list of tables and fields with their name and type. So we can, again, I have the same app requirements. Create a prompt for an application to manage company business travel trips. We're gonna run ChatGPT. One tip here with ChatGPT 5, which I'm not a big fan of, is don't let it think for this type of tasks, because if you let it think, it's going to take first 2 minutes to respond. And I mean, like this one was a bit too short. But if you let it think for too long, it is going to return 20 tables. Like it's going for the extensive. Okay, this is good enough. It's going to start creating too many tables. Okay, but let's take an example of a table that's generated. So what do you do here before you go copy paste that into Omni? We want to review whether that makes sense. You want to have a quick look at the different tables it suggests, maybe make some adjustments. And then when you're ready, say, okay, now I want to, let's say, table trips. I want this type of tables to be generated. I'm going to, again, create a new project. So new base. So there's a lot of new bases in these demos. I go inside Omni, and here I can prompt Omni, and that's the way I would recommend if that you can build your database step by step. At first, you figure out the requirements inside ChatGPT or Claude, and then it is actually enough here. So I'm going to remove this one because this is a link to a table that doesn't exist yet. But otherwise, for everything else, here I have precise requirements. It's exactly what I want. And it's enough to give that to Omni for it to create the different fields. Why am I doing one table at a time? You can try adding like, I think 2-3 tables is fine. So here you can see, yeah. And most importantly, like our status, for instance, was a single select. And we have So it's really respecting our instructions there. You can try to have more tables. You can try to have more fields, but eventually I tried with a mega prompt. Can it generate 20 tables, each with 20 fields in? Like that'd be the dream. Like if you give that to Omni right now, it's going to just either think in loops for too long, or it's going to tell you it has an error. So I haven't quite, I don't have recommendation on what the exact amount, like the prompt length or the exact amount of tables you can prompt at once, but work from one and maybe add another, and you'll hit a limit at some point, and they'll so that's how you can prompt. That's how we can prompt tables. Sorry, here. And that's already a big time saver if if you're used to creating fields and you have to always recreate the same things. Like it's a good alternative to having to do everything manually yourself. All right, next. If we have already tables, we might as well also use Omni to generate fields. And this one I think is a big time saver because we can generate AI fields directly with Omni. What takes the most time with generating an AI field, it's not clicking in the interface to generate the field, it's writing the prompt of the field. And it can take time, and multiply that by the number of AI fields you have to generate, and you can easily spend 15, 20 minutes customizing your AI fields. But with Omni, you can do that relatively quickly. So see, so this one, the app, this was the other demo. And let's for this demo, let's look at a concrete use case. I have a list of companies and I want quick information about those companies. I'm going to use AI for various fields to do this research. And so the process, if I don't use Omni, is going to be, yeah, I can add fields. There are some templates of prompts, but it will take a little bit of time. Or we can do that. So if we do this, create the following AI fields for analysis: employees, industry, revenue. All right. So let's see. Let's have it run. And Omni is going to do two things. So first, it's going to create those three fields, but it's also going to create the prompts inside those fields, because there's no other way for me to get that data unless I already have it. And in this case, we're going to create fields just to store data I already have. But here I'm in the context of researching information fast. And so we let it work a little bit. I really specified in the prompt that these are AI fields. If I do not do that, it might also just create fields like a number field, a drop down, and a currency field. So you wanna make sure there. And then we have AI fields, and so it's creating the fields and it's also running them. So back to our credits story. By default, Omni is going to be, like this a big push so that you consume a lot of credits. So be careful with what you give it. And if you run, if you have these types of data queries where you're going to have a lot of AI fields, of agent fields, then restrict your data set to the minimum. So we got the number of employees, we got the industry, and we got the revenue. So that's good to find hard facts quick about each of those companies. This one, for some reason, fails. We can write it again. It's also good if you want to add, so we can look under the hood. And you see here, by default, now this is 4.1. It prompted and basically specified also what the output should be. It adjusted the right format. So you actually save a lot of time. Three fields like this, even if you're seasoned and you're using Airtable very quick, this is still faster. And you can also get some inspiration of the prompts that are out there. We can also use it for more open questions. So now I'll two fields to help me analyze whether these companies are active when it comes to AI training, because this is what I want to sell. Recent initiatives. So any AI enablement initiatives these companies have communicated on recently. AI roles. Are there key people in the organization that lead the AI transformation initiatives? So there, it's going to be a bit more open-ended. And again, back to our conversation on the quality of the results returned, very variable results. So it can be good. Here in this case, I would use that to spot facts. So if it returns something interesting, you win, you save some time and you can act on this information. If what you are looking for is absolute precision, I don't think this is it yet. So recent initiatives, what it's running, so it's searching the web. We can check what is the prompt. You are an AI research analyst with expertise in tracking and summarizing organizational AI enablement initiatives. Search the internet and for initiatives. There are some examples, blah, and it's going to use as input the name of the company and the domain I already have. And then we can see. And here, see, this is where right now I would say, okay, so one thing is acquired a AI-driven data travel and expense management solution. Yes, that's not really AI enablement. That's more a product acquisition. The information on HiBob, which we know is rather accurate. Like they have a lot of AI upskilling initiatives. If we look at Zapier, that's very loud on the topic. It's mentioning Central, but Zapier has been doing a lot of things next to that. Yeah, this is not comprehensive. It is good if you want to search and maybe spot interesting. If you don't know anything about the company in question and you're looking for good input and good facts there, you could use it. But if you want comprehensive research, that's not it yet. Okay, and AI roles is a little bit takes a little bit of time. Yeah, we found some key people. Chief Information Officer. Last time I ran this query, it returned Ori, who's really the key person at IBOP. So it can be good. In some cases, it can maybe you need to run it multiple times. It's not going to always yield the result that you want. So that's for prompting fields and more specifically prompting AI fields. I have a couple more. We might go a little bit over time. That won't be the first time. How do you generate automations with Airtable Omni? Okay. So it's another Airtable base. I'll close this one. All right. So this is what it looks like when you generate an app. If you want a full-fledged Airtable app, an internal tool that really saves time, you're going to need some automations to remove the manual steps. So let's look at this Airtable base. It's a simple base where we have projects, tasks, and customers. Okay, and then where the tasks have a different status. Some are in progress, like we have 3 status. It's not started, in progress, completed. Okay, so basic information. And let's see if we can, so we can build an automation that sends a summary of the status of the tasks, the projects. But let's see if we could prompt that automation. So here I'm going to introduce you to 2 methods that I tried. First, single shot inside Airtable. So what's single shot inside Airtable? That's what we're going to try right now. Is just going to Omni in the automations panel, create an automation every Friday at 6 p.m., get all completed tasks and use AI to summarize them, group by assignee, share summary on Slack. I'm excited. This is the part that I have found pretty compelling, and I can already tell you some automations we've built recently. I'm increasingly doing that with Airtable and with another platform called Lindy. I am increasingly prompting automations and making few changes, less than I would expect. So I'm excited because this one actually, usually you prompt an automation only once. So maybe if I prompt it another time, it's going to fail. Let's see what we got here. Interesting. Okay, so at a scheduled time, and what I'm going to do now is something. It is the process of vibe coding or vibe generating things with Airtable Omni. It is not prompt and turn on. It's prompt, look at the results, and we're going to see what is good, what needs to be changed. So every Friday, 6 p.m., it set up a schedule trigger. Very good. Easy. Get all completed tasks. So it finds records where the status is completed. This is correct. And then use AIs to summarize them, group by assignee, and share summary on Slack. So here, there's one logical flow that it made, is that we are going to repeat for every task, and for every task, it is going to generate some text and send a Slack notification. Meaning, if I have 100 tasks, we are in for 100 prompts and 100 notifications here. So that's very, very close, but that's also very, very wrong. And there goes your credits. And that's why, in my opinion, you should really, like, if you intend to use Omni to help you building, that does not allow you to skip the step of understanding how Airtable works and understanding how these controls work. Far from it. It's time saver. It can serve as inspiration, but you're going to need to understand what has been configured. So this one is no bueno. So what's the second way? And of course, you can prompt a bit more precisely, and sometimes you will get accurate results. The second way is same method. Why don't we go to ChatGPT and use a prompt like this one? You are tasked with generating a prompt that will help create an Airtable automation using Omni. Your goal is to list each module in a specific format without actually building the automation. So again, same method as the table generator one. We want to give in the prompt just the exact specs. And in this prompt, so we have 4 steps. First, we want ChatGPT to memorize the triggers and actions in Airtable, because I don't want it to generate actions or triggers that Airtable does not offer. And so in this step 1, I'm going to feed documentation of all triggers and actions in Airtable. Read this. This is the whole world of what is possible with automation. Step 2, carefully read and analyze the automation requirements, which I'm going to give at the end. So I'm giving the same task here. Step 3, design the automation that best addresses the requirements. Consider which trigger, which actions. And then step 4, return in a particular format. Name of the automation, step 1, step 2, step 3, and the following format. Some additional instructions. Let's go and see what it does. So I don't want you to think too much. What happens when I don't press skip? I get automations with 6, 7 steps. While this is actually, so this is very, very close, but still wrong on one thing. So I'm going to paste this in Omni, but there is one caveat here. Maybe there is something I can improve in the prompt. It gets the step 3 wrong. So at a scheduled time, sorry, and the requirements were slightly different for this one. It was every Monday at 9 a.m. And look at active tasks. So this is slightly different than what we had here. But it will get wrong, and every AI step is going to be assumed to be a run a script action instead of this generate text with AI. So the only thing I'm going to change there is the step 2. So I'm copying this prompt here. Action generate with AI. Use AI to group tasks by project and generate a concise summary. Okay. So you can use this prompt generator, whether you use it or not. Basically, the point is, if you want to have a more precise control, like if you want to have more control over Omni to generate automations, you will need to get more precise in your specs in how you communicate your requirements. So that's one format that I find works pretty well. Here, okay, and this one is correct. And this one, as you can see, only one thing needs to be configured. I haven't specified the channel, so I'm going to specifying here. And like literally, let's test. We prompted an automation. We just activated the one module that needed to be configured. I needed to specify the channel. And now if I test the automation without looking at what I was supposed to do, and I put Slack, so testing. Let's see. And this is what we got. So we got our summary. So we're able to build a reporting notification in 1 minute, 2 minutes, which summarizes per project and yeah, the task. So of course, you might have different requirements. You might need to tweak things, but like I found this part of Omni one of the most compelling because sometimes, so it's not going to be always, but there are cases where you prompt it and you get it. Okay, I think last, I have one more. Yes. Let's talk about interfaces. So you can also generate interfaces with Omni. And there, one last piece of demo. So we're back into the Airtable base where we store all our content ideas, all our content topics. And I'm just going to end with two prompts. So first here. So can we prompt a chart inside an existing dashboard? So here we organize our content pieces in different content pillars. So basic knowledge, reaction on news, some strong opinions. We do some promotion, and I want to understand maybe not just the distribution, but like I want a chart summarizing the evolution of number of posts per content pillar per quarter. See, we get an idea if we're doing too much promotion, or whether we are completely forgetting a particular content pillar. And here, right now, I must say that prompting charts and prompting, yeah, anything that you prompt to analyze data is very 50-50. So this is what I tried yesterday, which was trying to be more explicit. I want a line chart. Because if you don't specify the chart type, it's going to be relatively, yeah, it's going to decide for you, basically. And exactly, there are some things where it is not really respecting the instructions. And basically, again, here the question is, will you rather improve your prompt so you're able to one-shot those charts, or is it worth rather editing things here, where basically you have this here, and then I think there's another change I need to make, which was here per, yeah, something like this. I don't even I know, group by content pillar. Yeah, so those two changes, you could argue maybe the better prompt you might get those, but I think it's very unlikely. Like if you have very specific ideas on how you want the chart to display data, it is harder to explain it clearly than to simply find your way across those buttons and get with those insights. So I can show you the chart for 1 second. Oops. So what's this? If we launch, if we look at the chart, oops, publish. I think it really depends. So we have our insights, but we needed to have some iterations until we get to the result. Might be different if your data needs are simpler. Might depend on the query, but that's not a home run. What is a home run is if you want to quickly generate interfaces. You can also use Omni to, let's say, I want to review those content pillars. I want to review what we say they are, how many posts have we posted for each, and I want in a layout that's more like an app where I can review them. So one key thing here, I am familiar with the vocabulary inside Airtable, so I know what a record review layout is, and so I'm going to specify it in the prompt. And if you do that, if you are familiar with the interfaces of Airtable and you just spell it out, well, it should output the type of layout that you've requested. And it should do it relatively fast. So this is a record layout, or a record review layout. And then, of course, there's still some adjustments on what should be displayed. But here is each of our content pillar. We have the description of each and some more edits to make, but we're already very close to an interface that's prompted. I would recommend doing the remaining changes visually, because really in this case, if you want to make something editable, let's say I want to be able to edit the description in this interface, that's how you do it with the visual editor. That is, in my opinion, always faster than prompting Omni. Now, if you want to make everything editable, maybe it is something that Omni will do faster. You get the best of both worlds. Last prompt and last demo, and one thing where I think Omni is pretty good is if you want to generate an entire dashboard, that's a different story. Because creating a dashboard in Airtable, it means a lot of separate charts one after another. You can easily spend an hour creating a dashboard. So I want a dashboard to summarize our content performance across all content formats. I want to summarize the post table, the blog articles table, the YouTube videos, the tutorials, the events. So that's going to be a lot. This, at least, even if you know exactly where to click, you know Airtable in and out, you will not be faster than this. So we'll wait till the dashboard comes out. But on the other hand, so it should be already there. Exactly. So this here. And let's take a look at it. Yeah, so it generated all of this in a single prompt. Blog articles, YouTube, tutorials. So that's quite compelling. Now, once again, Omni is choosing what to show. Omni is choosing what are the right charts and how to display the data. So it might very much be hit and miss for a lot of things. And that is sort of the trade-off that you're going to have anyways with prompting interfaces or anything else inside Airtable. All right, to wrap up, so I don't want to take too much of your time. Important Omni limitations to consider. First, Omni is an early solution. It has some limitations, but I really trust the Airtable team to address some of those limitations and make the product better. The models are going to get better. That said, today, you have to be aware of hallucinations. We've seen some examples already. So hallucinations can come in a different way. First, when you ask Omni to search for data, the answers might sound right, might sound very plausible. That doesn't mean you shouldn't check the outputs. The other side of hallucinations is it might not necessarily follow your instructions to the letter. And if you're using it to build, you might need to go back to visual and make some changes. And I find that totally okay because in other platforms, you may not have that option at all. All you have is the prompt. Second, watch your credits. It's very convenient. You can generate entire tables with search, but convenience, often say that for SaaS solution, convenience is often priced in. It comes at a cost. You can burn your credits very quickly. And so if you plan on having a lot of data and using AI in your Airtable bases, you need to be careful. Second, to master Omni, I'm convinced that you're going to need skills. This is not a solution that's for mass adoption, or at least people who are complete beginners will hit a plateau very quickly. You need two skills, in my opinion. First, prompt engineering, knowing how to craft and phrase clear, specific instructions. It's going to be key if you want to get results from Omni. If the automation generated was not the one you wanted, the first person responsible is not Omni, it's you. You should have better prompts. And second, to write better prompts, you're going to need Airtable knowledge. Some basic things. You need to know how things are called inside Airtable. The last example I gave on the layout, if you don't specify which interface type you want, Omni is going to choose, and chances it will choose an interface, not the interface you're thinking about. So to be precise, you need to have Airtable knowledge. And also, the second part where Airtable knowledge is going to really help you is when Omni builds something, that key step, that core moment where you're going to challenge what is built and figure out, wait, this automation is going to send 100 Slack notifications. That doesn't make sense. Versus this automation is good to go. We can turn it on. So very important to have these skills. And yeah, if you want to get results with Omni, I think this will be important to get familiar with the platform and learn prompting. And on that, that's all I have for today. I can stay a couple more minutes if there are questions in the chat. I'm happy to take these.
All right, thanks, Alex. I'm just going to wait if there's any other questions. So far, no, but maybe could you do a quick summary, like in conclusion, what are your favorite two ways to use Omni and Airtable right now? I mean, you mentioned like automations, like using it to create automations. You think that's very promising. Which other way, like just in summary from what you mentioned?
Yeah, so prompting automations definitely is one that's high up on the list if you are automating processes. And like I have really now the use case of I have an idea of an automation, and the only time I have is the time to think about it. Well, now there's a use case for me where I might as well just prompt and see what I get. And I don't know if it's 50% of the time or if it's 80% of the time or less, but I've already prompted 2, 3 automations that we're using. So that is, I think, when Omni can close the loop and you prompt and you set it and forget it, I think it's very, very compelling. I think the second one is let's still look at how much progress Omni has made in terms of generating apps out of a single prompt. I was very positively surprised with what it's able to generate at the beginning with a blank canvas. I think Airtable is betting heavily on this one because that's the biggest hurdle to overcome. Is I have an Airtable project, I don't know where to start, and like the better this initial prompt, like the further the initial prompt gets you, maybe the better. And so I could imagine that in a not so far distant future that you can have employees who have no advanced Airtable knowledge that are prompting their idea, and then more advanced users that are taking these and finishing or closing the loop until Omni does everything. It might happen sooner than we expect. Yeah, so these two, the one that's a bit of disappointment, but that I think will get much better. And if Airtable nails that, it's going to be very very compelling. Are those web tables? Yeah, the two features in beta. And there's one thing I didn't show. Omni can generate custom interfaces. So this one was a bit disappointed because I didn't manage to build a custom interface with it. So I think I was taking too much time. That will be for another workshop.
Awesome. There's no other questions so far, just people saying thank you.
Cool, super. Thank you all for joining. Yeah, make sure to register to the next one with Jan. We'll cover a different type of agent with Make. See ya. Take care.